Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Willie Comic Roundup. Got a decently sized haul this week, so let's get started. Kicking this off, we've got Deadpool number 10. Where we left off, Valentine had killed the Horned Emperor and started to become the Horned Emperor. So, we begin with a before flashback at Deadpool's apartment. Valentine and Deadpool are cuddling in bed and basically just being a cutesy couple. Princess barges in, however, wanting to be walked. And Deadpool does point out that, or asks a lot how one dog roofs the door when every gooey limb can become hands or knives. But Deadpool asks Valentine if they'd still love him if he were a worm, and that's kind of the crux of the whole thing. In the present, Valentine is becoming more and more the Horned Emperor. One of them, the Atelier drop, attempts to kill Valentine and take the mantle of the Horned Emperor for himself. And Valentine kills him for that. Pretty gruesomely. Which brings in two additional members, leaving basically just Deadpool and two of the other members of the Atelier. In the prison cells, Lady Deathstrike is attempting to free Princess, but is stopped by her brother. They fight, and Lady Deathstrike manages to free Princess using her brother's handprint. But when Princess asks if she can eat Lady Deathstrike's brother, well, she states that no, the drama in his blood would give Princess indigestion, and that while Lord Deathstrike is kind of a shitty older brother, he's the only one that Yoriko has. And so they go out, and so Lady Deathstrike and Princess go to find Deadpool. And so the fight between the remaining members of the Atelier, Valentine and Deadpool, continues. With the Horned Emperor, the Horned Valentine, forming appears to be a cocoon of horns around them. Deadpool is able to push out a couple of grenades, which seems to kill out there member Sylvia Reyes, aka Alcadon the Shrike. This makes Alcadon's wife, Miss Ginkgo, not happy. We get profiles on the two of them. Shrike is a known serial murderer who operates throughout the American Southwest. Suits her method of impaling her victims on sculptures or not. Sculptures of neither her alias Alcadon or the Shrike. Apparently, though, Alcadon and Miss Ginkgo have been married for 40 years. Miss Ginkgo is basically an ancient eldritch entity, hailing from a different dimension than ours. Powers are strange and upsetting. Form is inconsistent. Most of the time, she takes the shape of a human woman wearing a modern handbook. She's almost always asleep, a condition that doesn't hamper her movement at all. And no one knows how it is that Miss Ginkgo and Akadon met, but they are inseparable. But Wade manages to talk down Miss Ginkgo, who's quite distressed by the death of her wife. Rightly so. But Deadpool's able to get through to Valentine, and kind of center herself around the collective consciousness of, take control of the collective consciousness that is the Horned Emperor. A month later, the new atelier consists of Valentine, the Horned Emperor, Lady Deathstrike, Princess, and Deadpool. And they're on a job, and well, it seems that the series says there is no listed 11th issue. Ends with a series of pictures of our main cast: Valentine, Deadpool, Lady Deathstrike, and Princess. There's also a text thread between Yuriko and her brother. Apparently, Lord Deathstrike got Yuriko a puppy. For her birthday, that is. And over the weekend, Yuriko decided to keep the puppy. Kiki, she named her. Though if Princess eats Kiki, Yuriko will never forgive her brother. Like I said, that is where the series ends. This was a fun book. Shame it's only didn't even last a year. I kind of have to. Part of me kind of thinks that maybe it's the fact that there are certain things that people want from a Deadpool book, and of late, when it comes to ongoing solo titles with Deadpool, Marvel does appear to be willing to give writers chances with differing ideas from what potentially speaking what most people would think fans want to read. I don't mind these stories personally. I tend to think they're quite good, but I do understand the concept that there are probably more than a few Deadpool fans who would prefer something a bit more of conventional Deadpool fare. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Jean Grey #1. Continuing Fall of X. At the Hellfire Gala, Jean Grey was killed by Moira McTaggart, stabbed in the back with a Blightstwill soaked blade, and she died. So, this series occurs over the course of, at least so far, over the course of Jean's dying moments. She's kind of recentering herself, thinking, looking back on her past, remembering all of the, including remembering her time-displaced adventures as a teenager, and thinking about how things could have gone, how they could have gotten to a different point. Initially thinking about, well, what if she hadn't mind wiped everyone after they returned from the present. And so The X-Men go fight Magneto in Manhattan. Jean's able to knock Magneto's helmet off and kind of show him just what Magneto's path leads to. And the X-Men get to be heroes. But Xavier disagrees with their methods. They move out, basically have like a Manhattan build, much like kind of an X-Men version of the Baxter Building or Stark Tower. Beast has made a new Cerebro helmet that will enable Jean to find emerging mutants as soon as they begin to emerge. Xavier and Trask are debating on television. The X-Men find a mutant, go to find them. But as the mutant's powers manifest, the building that said mutant lives in blows up. And so Jean explains saying that there was a gas leak that caused the explosion. But Beast explains there will be an investigation. Forensics won't back up the gas leak story. Iceman says that he won't volunteer information, but if he's asked directly, he won't lie. Jean says that she can make him think it isn't a lie. It does come out. Sentinels attack the X building. However, the X-Men are able to escape. And they recruit a young Kitty Pryde. Jean convincing her father, who it should be noted ends up also being a mutant, that Kitty should go should come with him to boarding school. She then rescues. They then rescue Sam Guthrie. They also manage to rescue Danny Moonstar and various others, but they need someone to drop the kids off. So the X-Men bring them to the mansion, and apparently Magneto has been kind of brought back from the coma that Jean put him in. Both of them, both Charles and Max, think that maybe Jean's methods are a little extreme. Bobby and Warren opt to stay with the rescued children. Hank talks to Trish Tilby, kind of to try and justify what the X-Men have been doing. But he gets knocked out he gets psychically attacked by Jean. Even the Cyclops is starting to have doubts, eventually leading to Jean becoming the Phoenix, and looks like convincing Reverend Stryker to walk out the window of one of his ministries, incinerating Senator Kelly, and it looks like also incinerating Bolivar Trask. A team consisting of Beast, Angel, Iceman, and looks to be Magneto go after Jean, but are promptly stopped while Xavier tries to deal with her mentally. And it's now just her and the Phoenix, and Jean even says that's horrible and wrong. That her idea, her willfulness, her pride, and her fault. But the option of that particular option doesn't exist. They they were right to let she's right to let the scan time unwind without entanglement, but she sees the next possibility, the next choice where things may have gone wrong, which would be the shuttle crash, in which she became the Phoenix, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting. I have the feeling that Jean and everyone's favorite fiery bird of resurrection will once again be besties by the end of this miniseries. To be fair, you can kind of use a bit of power boost, especially at the moment. Moving on to our next book, we have Realm of X, #1. During Orcus' attack on the Hellfire Gala, Xavier was was basically told, hey, you can either tell all the mutants of the world to just walk through the gates blindly, or, well, Orcus will kill them. So, he had them step through the gates, thinking they were going to Araka. Where they went, no one seems to know. Turns out that some of them ended up in Vanaheim. So magic awakes in Vanaheim, hears noises, and goes to investigate, coming upon Mirage, Danny Moonstar, Typhoid Mary, Marrow, and Dust. While Curse runs off. And for some reason, Magic can't use her powers. But the X-Men president deal with the bad guys and are welcomed by Raven, leader of House Malt. And it's stated, but Raven asked if the one called Curse is with them, with Magic saying that Curse was in her arms. Curse ran off, and is enjoying exploring a new world. It's Vanaheim. Some wolves come upon her, and she uses her powers. One of them basically breathes in her face. Well, wolf breath, and so she says, "Wash your mouth" to them, and they all end up with mouths full of soap. But our heroes make it to House Malt. Curse encounters some trolls and turns them to stone. Dust has been trying to find Curse by covering as much ground as possible. The wounded have also been caught. And we've also learned that Xavier's people are fighting someone known as the White Witch, who comes upon the trolls who've been turned to stone. And, yeah. He needs to look for Curse. Turns out that House Malt has seers who have seen the arrival of 4 specific mutant women. Each of them has a statue built to them. And also seen the arrival of Curse, but nothing after this. There's an attack by giant birds. A child is taken. Curse sees this, saves the child, but is injured by the talons of one of the birds. She plucks basically has the birds plucked. Tries to save the kid, or at least ends up saying "go home," and kid appears back at House Malt. But something is going on. Something injury that Curse has suffered seems to be hurting her, and the White Witch appears to her, revealing herself to be none other than Saturnine, who sees Curse as a weapon, and of course offers kindness to, well, someone that she deems useful. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting start. Have to see where the series ends up. I'm glad that we're getting some resolution with Mary. After all, in some of the early issues after the gala, we did have Mary's husband, former Mayor Fisk, wondering just where his wife is gone. Now we know. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got X-Force number 43. X-Forces travel through time to fight Beast's time-spanning empire, future time-spanning empire, and have retrieved their lost comrade, Quentin Quire. So it's the night of the gala. Also, and Colossus continues to be under the unknowing thrall of his brother. Though before that control was reasserted, he did suggest to Domino that she go to his home in the Savage Land and poke around. But Quentin Quire transfers his consciousness to one of the shells that he has, but going to, classic young Quentin, though it seems he can't use his powers, or at least not as effectively. Colossus basically states that the X-Force will be off-site during the gala. If needed, they'll be brought in. Colossus himself will be at the gala as he's a member of the Quiet Council. Before the gala begins, Colossus secretly plants a gate underneath the location of the gala. But before the Orcus attack, Domino opts to go to the Savage Land to investigate. Okay, well, Piotr said, something about his place in the Savage Land. Deadpool also opts to leave, but well, he wants to get his dance on at the gala. Charles and Piotr have a brief conversation about how things are going with X-Force, with, in fact, Charles praising Piotr for placing X-Force off-site. In the Savage Land, Domino notes that Colossus' paintings heavily feature his brother Mikhail, but there's also one of Kayla. The attack of the gala occurs with X-Force still off-site, and wondering, should they attack or not. In the Savage Land, Domino finds a large patch of ground where it seems the medicinal flowers aren't growing. So she digs, finding Kayla's decomposing corpse. There's, of course, a logbook event about what has happened at the gala. They begin to head out, but are intercepted by Colossus, who says, hey, there's a secret way take them underneath the where the gal is being held. However, Dama gets in touch with Sage, basically explaining that Colossus can't be trusted, and whatever he tells them to do, don't do it. But the team steps through the gate, and are suddenly face to face with Mikhail and his forces. It would seem shortly before the gates are shut down. And that is where the issue ends. The Colossus arc has been building for some time, and it looks like we're going to finally get some resolution to it. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we have Invincible Iron Man number 9. Where we left off, Tony had saved Emma by basically sticking the armor on her and having it fly off, and he basically just said dared Fei Long to kill an Avenger in the middle of the street. And so, but of course, Fei Long declines. But Cap shows up, and Tony says, "Hey, look, he doesn't want to be seen with his friends because he wants Fei Long to think that it's over, that he's beaten Stark, and he'll be in touch." But he manages to track down the armor through the Warlock tunnels. And Tony and Emma begin. First off, they talk, but Emma learns that things are not going to be how they normally are. Tony tries to be there for her, but they're going to turn over the Mark 70 armor to Fei Long. In Texas, Jennifer Walters is speaking with her client, Colonel James Rhodes, who's been who's being attacked in prison. However, when she brings us up to the warden of the prison, well, they don't do protective custody for murderers in Texas. Jen basically tells Tony that she can't be his lawyer anymore, as she has to dump him as a client to continue as Rhodey's counsel. And she adds that the last bit of legal advice she's giving him is to give Fei Long back the armor, which he crashes into Stark Limited's lobby. Stating that Fei Long's got the armor, so he needs to call off the attack on Rhodes. Of course, Fei Long denies that any knowledge of what's going on. And Tony goes to the Warlock tunnels to speak to talk to Emma. They have a bit of an argument, and then Tony has a panic attack. But Emma helps him get through it, basically take him to what is basically his happy place, as it were, which is his old armor hangar in California. and you know, adding what's going on is war, straight up. Yeah, and he adds that he's not just willing to die for for this, but he's willing to earn the Interpol award. Just wants to do so smartly. Got a lot of engineering to do to overcome the Sentinels. They require a wholly new technology that's going to take time. And an alliance is brokered between the two of them, and Tony talks Emma into taking on the identity of Hazel Kendall. Well, retaking, I should say. And Hazel and Tony go to. Hazel takes Tony to the Hellfire Club. As Emma says, she knew her money would be seized after becoming a refugee. Before that happened, she transferred everything to a third party who shares Emma and Tony's grievances. And we are introduced to the new White King of the Hellfire Club, Wilson Fisk, who states that they have much to discuss and that they should get down to business. And that is where the issue ends. I guess I wasn't entirely surprised by the reveal, but yeah, Kingpin is, in all honesty, a interesting and complex character. He's also a character he's a villain who, to my knowledge, has rarely had any true face moments. He's had moments of doing the right thing out of his own self-interest. But it was only to advance his interests, and with Fisk siding with the mutants, it's an interesting idea because he is, and yes, he is still doing this out of his own self-interest, or finding his wife, Typhoid Mary, and making sure she's all right. But generally speaking, previously when Fisk has done the right thing for his own reasons, it was usually just kind of I got what I came for. Y'all are on your own. This looks like it might be more than that. Also, likely to set up Fisk's grand return. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to Patreon patron Xander Lee. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.